Today, I'm joined by Carolyn Apostolou, a multi-international award-winning catalyst for change in workplace wellbeing, dedicated to helping individuals and organisations reach their full potential. An accredited coach, mentor and keynote speaker, Carolyn has spent years empowering leaders and teams through tailored wellbeing programs that reduce stress, prevent burnout, and create thriving, high-performing cultures. She partners with businesses to design strategic wellbeing initiatives that lift performance, strengthen retention, and support sustainable success. For individuals, her signature 30-day reset provides a clear, practical pathway out of exhaustion, replacing overwhelm with confidence, energy, and lasting healthy habits. Whether delivering a keynote or working closely with a team, Carolyn brings warmth, clarity, and a deep understanding of human behaviour to every room she enters. Her work is grounded in evidence-based practice and focus on real-world application. Her mission is simple: to help people take control of their well-being so they can show up as their best selves at work and in life. Because well-being isn't just personal, it's professional power. Carolyn, welcome to the True North Show. I'm really looking forward to our time together today.
Well, thank you, Megan, so much for having me.
You are so welcome. So if you're tired of running on empty and watching your well-being slip to the bottom of the to-do list, stay right where you are. After this quick commercial break, Carolyn will share with you how to turn your health into your greatest professional power. Carolyn.
Hello and welcome to The True North Show. I'm your host, Megan North. I am a purpose finder, mental health professional, and guide for those ready to return to who they truly are. Here, we explore what it means to live a life led by purpose, alignment, and deeper inner truth. Through real conversations, powerful reflections, and soul-led strategies, we'll uncover the stories, tools, and insights that help you navigate life's crossroads and find your own true north. So whether you're in the middle of a transformation, seeking clarity, or just curious about what's next, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Your path starts now.
You talk about well-being as professional power. I'd love to start there. So what does that really mean for someone who feels like they're just barely getting through their workday?
Well, professional power, it's like you've got an edge to yourself compared to everybody else. So when you are aware of yourself and you are prioritizing small, little everyday habits that really help you with your well-being, you can really stand out in front of the crowd.
And do you think that professional power then seeps into then personal professional power as well?
Of course, making you a better partner, a better mother if you've got children, whatever it might be, and a better friend. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. And so with this well-being work that you do, what was the defining moment that led you to pursue this work? Is this a long journey that you've been on? Was there something that happened in your career that really prompted you to do this work?
Well, there wasn't really a defining moment, Megan, but just something that I just continued to notice from things with my husband, with other capable professionals that I was surrounded by, even at the playground at the school. I've got 4 children. So, hearing mothers feeling like they were exhausted, even though they thought they were doing things right in terms of their well-being. And so I just kept seeing this pattern and wanting to do something about that.
And so how did you start? What was the first step that you took?
Well, I just started reaching out and really connecting with people and asking questions, how are you prioritizing yourself today? And, sometimes I guess that could feel a little bit overwhelming, but in just a very simple and nurturing tone of voice, have you been for a walk today, or have you been able to sit quietly for 5 minutes, and modeling that in my everyday, to really help people stay accountable.
Interesting. And were you working in the corporate space at that time?
No, I've actually never worked in the corporate space. I have a psychology background and I was a teacher of psychology here in Melbourne, Australia. And even to this day, often I say in my workshops to the corporate sector, I used to say to my students, now, please don't stay up all night studying for the psychology test tomorrow. Make sure that you study for 45-minute blocks and have 15 minutes where you might jump outside on the trampoline or pat the dog or, get a nutritious snack and then come back to it. And the importance of well-being, even from those days in the classroom 20 years ago, still very strong. So I've always loved health and well-being and just wanting to empower that knowledge, not just information, but how can we do things better so we feel better about ourselves, and that then can have a flow-on effect to every part of our lives.
And so do you feel that, were you drawing on personal experience, like when you were a student? Were you really good at taking breaks, or is that something that you learned through your study?
I think actually I was. I think I learned to time block from a very young age. And so I was always super organized. And I try to say that to my children, you've got to learn these habits. You can't just suddenly turn them on in year 12. And so I think I've just been very good at managing my time and blocking out what's really important and making sure that I do prioritize the things that I know that I need and that do bring me joy in amongst that organized chaos of life as a busy mum and with 4 young kids.
And do you think that organisation came from, did you have a role model? Was your mum or your dad really organised, or a grandparent, or was there someone that you saw that being organised really benefited them?
A combination of a few different people, even from a teacher that I can think of right now, and how she would structure the lesson and things like that and say, right, and after school, this would be a great idea to do this, this and this. And so I think I just picked up on lots of different role models from various parts of my life. My dad probably more so than my mum. In terms of the house organisation and what was happening and when it was happening. But, I think you do sort of learn from a variety of different places, and then it's great to be able to pull that together.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I had that combination of my mum, I'm one of 6, so my mum was super organised. You've got to be with 6 children.
Yes.
And, the house was always really organised. But then my dad was very he was very black and white. So it was either this or this. And so I found that kind of came in, I feel like I've got a blend of them in the sense of it's either this or it's that.
Yes.
From an organisational point of view, I suppose.
Yes.
And, being, and then I was a legal secretary for my first role ever.
Yes. Yes.
Working for 5 lawyers, and they'd all come in. I had no choice but to be super organised.
Right, exactly. Yes.
And so the teaching, how did the teaching then morph into this work that you're doing within corporate? How did that happen?
Well, I taught for a period of time, and then I took a break to have my 4 children, and that's really when my husband accelerated his career. But I found I needed something to keep my brain going when I was just at home with the kids, and something different apart from the sort of child rearing skills and habits that we fall into naturally all day, every day, right?
Yeah.
And so I ended up volunteering at our local church, a music program, which I absolutely loved. And it was that kind of imparting of knowledge. And, people would say to me, oh, you're so good at this. And I thought, those skills in the classroom are very transferable, right? Even if it was young children learning musical instruments. A beautiful essential oil business actually fell into my lap also around that time, and I really never saw it as a business. It was really my avenue to invite people into my home and to educate them about healthier ways of doing things and managing their well-being. And so really you could say that my real passion for health and well-being probably started at that mark. And if we fast forward about 5 years, we had then COVID hit, and very difficult, obviously, in Melbourne when we had so many lockdowns to continue to run a business where you were inviting people into your home, because we couldn't do that. And people weren't about to jump on Zoom when they couldn't smell the products. And it's really really tricky time. But it was also at one of those moments where I was walking with a friend who was a business coach, and I said to her, what am I going to do? And I know that I was homeschooling 4 children at that time, and they ranged in ages at that stage from 4 to I think about 12. No, yes, that's right. There's 8 years between the kids. And I just really wanted to empower knowledge. And so I started offering mental health workshops to friends that I knew that owned businesses, because all of a sudden what we'd known for going to the office to work, suddenly everybody was working from home, and they were trying to juggle work boundaries and working from home and children that were homeschooling. How on earth do you do that? So I started to present a mental health workshop on Zoom, just like now. And the friends that had these businesses, you would say to me, gosh, the staff just loved you. They loved your energy, loved what you shared. What else can you talk to them about? We've got a budget for this. Come on, let's go. And so I started to put together a series of what I thought at the time were hot topics in the corporate sector. Mm-hmm. And now I have 12 topics that I regularly speak on. Wow. Everything from work-life balance to managing stress. It could be looking at neurodiversity in the workplace, psychological safety, which is a sort of a buzz term at the moment because we've got new legislation here in Australia around that. So many different topics under the health and wellbeing umbrella. And I just love that. And I think those skills as a psychology graduate and then teaching in the classroom and having all those pairs of eyes on me, for 75 minutes, it's just the same when I'm in a boardroom with corporate staff or support workers or whoever it might be. I love empowering knowledge and sharing it in really bite-sizable chunks of information so that people can take it away and implement that straight away.
Wow. And so it was a real combination, wasn't it, of your study and what you learned from, I guess, a scientific point of view to then what you were experiencing personally and what you were hearing from others. Exactly. And I think that's probably where that beautiful blend comes for the things that you do, because people want to understand it, but then they also want to be able to relate to it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was seeing that, like I said in the very start, I was seeing this with my husband, in a very high pressure job. I was seeing it in the other professional women and men around me. And I was even seeing it in the playground with women and really feeling overwhelmed by life's challenges with balancing work and home duties. And how can I support them to do wellbeing better so that they prevent themselves burning out?
Wow, it's so interesting. Yeah. And so you work closely with leaders and organisations. So what do you think that the biggest wellbeing challenges are that you're seeing right now? And why do you believe that wellbeing is a leadership issue, not just a personal one?
Let's start with that second question, because I think when the leaders model good wellbeing habits, that filters down to all employees. So when you see a leader of an organisation, all the top-heavy staff, putting their sneakers on and getting out of the office for lunch, or bringing their lunch to the tea room and, chatting with other staff members, that is wonderful to see because it encourages other members of the workplace to do the same. And we know that getting out in nature is like 99% successful at grounding us, at resetting us when we are feeling overwhelmed and stressed by whatever it might be. And it could be a home situation, but quite often it's a workplace stress as well. So definitely leadership does go hand in hand with wellbeing. We want our senior leaders to be modelling very good wellbeing habits every day so that has a flow down effect to the rest of the organisation. Yeah, I think the biggest issues that I'm seeing today in the workplaces that I'm presenting in is just overwhelm. There's so much work to be done and there's so much pressure, and the employees just feel like that's another thing being asked of and another meeting to attend, and oh my goodness, and they feel like they're drowning, and we're only early in the year, right? Yeah. And so that is a serious worry for me, that we're already seeing so many people feeling like they're already potentially on the brink of exhaustion and burning out so early in the year, where especially in Australia, we've all just had a very long summer holidays and a summer break. We should be at our peak energy level and motivational levels at this part of the year after us, the sunshine and lots of, good downtime over that Christmas, New Year, January break.
And for those watching anywhere other than Australia, for us in our corporate environments, it's been happening for a good decade or so now, but most companies shut down for 2 weeks over that Christmas New Year period.
Exactly. So forced break.
It is a forced break. And when I worked in corporate, I loved it, because if you go on leave through the year, you come back to a million emails. But over that Christmas, New Year break, when everyone is off, you come back and you're like, oh, there's a couple of emails there.
That's right. Exactly.
Nothing much happened.
The phone doesn't ring. That's what my husband loves. No one's ringing me. It's great. Oh dear.
Yeah. So that's interesting then that you're commenting that already, that we're only in the third month of the year, and you're already seeing that.
Correct. And that's where I say to workplaces, it's now that we need to put in place a series of support. So do you want a presentation once a quarter, or we're going to look at 3 times a year, so that we're not waiting until everybody's even more burnt out and more exhausted or have left the organisation, that we're then going to start to implement something.
Yeah.
So proactively.
It's interesting that when you talked about then before about leaders and how they can model the wellbeing piece. And I think from my background working in HR and in big corporate roles, there's always, as a leader, I think, a fine line to where's the boundary of how much do I share about what's going on in my life.
Right.
But actually more and more I used to find that those leaders who were comfortable to share something that was going on, or I'm feeling overwhelmed, and sharing that, it has a very, very big effect on the team, because all of a sudden then they're sitting there going, okay, well, you can relate to how I'm feeling.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think sometimes being vulnerable and sharing what's appropriate, not to burden the other staff, but to share that, no one's perfect and that I'm struggling with this as well, can be very, very powerful.
Yeah, definitely. And I also think that the other change that's happened from pre-COVID, pre-COVID we're all in the office, and for you, you'd be teaching and you'd be in different places in person. So that true water cooler conversation used to happen.
Yes, correct.
Post-COVID, that doesn't happen anymore. You don't bump into someone in the office because
that's right.
You're not there.
And I do a lot of presentations to organisations that have a full remote staff. And so how can we support our staff when we never physically can touch them, or we're never in the same room with them? And so that is, something that COVID has taught us. Well, we actually can jump on Zoom on a Friday night and we can do trivia with everybody, or we can perhaps once a year plan an in-person event. And so I've worked with an organisation to have a retreat in Bali, so that all their remote staff coming from different parts of the world are meeting in a central location and can meet. And what a highlight that was for them to finally meet in person after only working in an online capacity for a period of time.
That would have been so joyous for them.
Good.
Like,
Yes,
oh my God. I can imagine the conversation would be like, oh my gosh.
Squeals, yes.
To hug you and
Correct.
Yeah.
And for some teams, talking about grief and how do we support team members that are grieving the loss of a loved one when we are only working remote. And so it's so good to see organisations thinking about these things and saying, hey, Carolyn, next time we have you, can we incorporate something like that into our talk? Because we're noticing we're really struggling with this and we don't really know how to do that. In person, we can provide more. I think it's easier support. We can buy flowers. We can leave that on a person's desk. We can easily write a card. It's kind of not the same when you can text, but physically we can do so much more. But great to be able to share ideas with remote teams for doing something similar.
Yeah. It's also, I think, when you're in person too, you kind of pick up on people's energy.
Exactly.
You usually, I know, having worked in office pre-COVID, and you'd walk in and you'd think, someone over there that always sits there, they haven't even said good morning to me. What's going on? You walk over and you're like, are you okay?
Correct.
You don't notice that as much if it's online.
Exactly. Yeah. And I would say just an added point to that, Megan, is that if you are fortunate to work in an office like that and you do notice somebody is a little bit down or they're continuing to come in late to work or whatever it is, one of the best things you can do from a mental health standpoint is, just say, hey, do you want to grab a coffee? Let's go for a bit of a chat and have a bit of a walk and, side by side, not grilling them, but just really checking in to say, hey, I've noticed that you don't seem your usual self. Is there anything that, you want to chat about or can I support you with? So it is definitely much easier in person and to notice those things exactly as you mentioned.
Absolutely. And that's actually a really good point you make too, Carolyn, because I do a lot of work in mental health as well. And a lot of people feel they notice that something's different about someone, but they are worried, not about specifically asking the person if they're okay, but the concern is what do I do if they tell me they're not?
Right.
So I think that if that does happen with people, then, maybe do a little bit of research on if that response from that person isn't great, how can I push them toward, point them towards some help?
Absolutely. And a first point of call is always your local general practitioner. Most workplaces have got fabulous EAP providers and there are psychologists that the workplaces pay for you to see. And so that is a wonderful opportunity for people to take advantage of if they're not feeling 100% or they need to talk to somebody. So don't be scared by the response, even if it is that they are not okay and they need help. You're just there to guide them then to taking the next step and to seeing somebody professional.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or even just by asking someone if they're okay. If you're not, sometimes just someone feeling that someone's noticed, it can make a really big difference in someone's life as well.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, it's a simple, question to ask.
It is, and one that we really do need to be using more frequently.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So when someone feels overwhelmed and they don't know where to start, what's the first thing you focus on with them?
Right. Well, can I teach you a word, Megan? A word that you probably already know, but each of those letters in the word is going to stand for something. And so I'd like to introduce the word of shine to you.
Shine.
Now, shine is a great word. Now, I like to use shine to stand for certain healthy habits. Now, you don't need to start with all of them in the one go, but you could start with one of these things. And so the S stands for sleep. So sleep is so important. Going to bed at a similar time every night, waking up around the same time every morning, super important. For people that want to release weight, you need to be making sure you are actually sleeping well. So protect your sleep as much as you possibly can. And if you are somebody that does struggle with sleep, there are certain tips that I can give you. Trying to go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time is definitely the first one. Having a nice cool room can be really good. You might like to try some like essential oils or something that's very relaxing so the environment is nice and calm. And if you can avoid working in the bedroom, that's a bonus because we want to keep that calmness. We don't want to be sort of lying in bed and seeing our desk in the same bedroom. And I know some people have to work in their bedroom, but if possible, if you can move your workspace or your workstation out of the bedroom, that would be really an advantage. Now, the second thing, if you don't want to work on sleep, you could work on the H, which stands for hydration. And so everywhere I go, I've always got a drink bottle with me. Yes, you've got your water. Fantastic. And I encourage all my clients to aim to drink 1 litre of water by 11 o'clock in the morning and a second litre by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, you can work out the equivalent in gallons. I'm not sure what it is for our US audience, but having a bit of a goal by mid-morning is wonderful. And think about if hydration is going to be the one thing you're going to target. Think about waking up and having a glass of water. So that's about 250 mils. And depending on what you have for breakfast, if you make a smoothie, you can count that as water. If you have a cup of tea with your toast or whatever it is, that is also included in your tally. So you're actually getting pretty close to that 1 litre by 11 o'clock without really realising. Now, when I'm in the car, I drive my kids to school in the morning. I usually take my drink bottle with me, and often when I get a red light, I have a big sip of water. So I can even fit like a litre of water by the time I get back after that hour of dropping to four kids in 3 different locations. So I think hydration, many people are dehydrated, and that is a really healthy habit that you need to make sure that you are drinking a lot of water to flush your system, but also to keep your body really acting and performing in the best way possible. And we know that our cognition is much better when we are not dehydrated too. So if you can get the majority of water into your body by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that's then out of your body by the time you go to bed. You shouldn't be up all night. People always say to me, I'm going to be running to the bathroom all the time. And I said, well, your body will get used to it. And even if you get that first litre done early in the day, and if it does, you don't get that second litre in by early afternoon, that's okay. But we really want to have a good goal. And most people do need about 2 litres of water a day to properly help their bodily systems. Right. The I stands for intention. And so if you have not ever journaled at the start of the day, some people do like it at the start of the day, other people prefer that at the end of the day, just to set your intentions for the day. What are you grateful for that has happened or is about to happen? And just to get in the right headspace, that can be a really powerful, healthy habit that often gets overlooked.
Love that. Yep.
N in SHINE stands for nutrition. So always thinking, what is on the end of my fork? How is this going to fuel my body and give me the energy so that I can be at the top of my game? And so if food is a just quick, I've got to eat something and move on, I'd really love you to intentionally make some better choices around what you are putting in your mouth so that you are really utilizing that to give you energy and to help you to feel like you've got, the energy and vitality that you really dream of. And so if you can prioritize, for example, eggs for breakfast, or some Greek yogurt and some fresh berries and some honey, rather than a sugary cereal or a pastry, that is going to set you up better for your day.
The rest of the day.
Give you loads of, I'm not a nutritionist, but I can give you loads of food suggestions because I love food. Says it's like a restaurant in your house. Different kids are having different things. I'm like, well, they're all healthy options, and actually they're pretty quick. If somebody wants crepes, there might be a scoop of protein powder in the crepes, so I know that that's going to fill them up. One child that loves smoothies and eggs. You probably laugh when I tell you I buy 60 eggs a week because with the 6 of us in the house, and most people are having eggs every day, whether they be for breakfast. Some of the boys are having hard-boiled eggs often after school. There's always an egg thrown in somewhere and something. Thankfully, no egg allergies in our house.
Yes, you get some chickens.
I should probably, yes. I don't think they could lay as fast as how I'm going through those. Anyway, back to the last letter in SHINE obviously is E for exercise, and I just really encourage people, and that can be gentle movement, just walking. If you can handle just walking, can you give yourself a bit of a stretch goal? Could you do Pilates on one time during the week? If that's easy, can you think about lifting some weights? And we definitely know, and if our audience is over the age of 40, definitely we need to be making sure we are lifting weights, and that doesn't mean to be super heavy, but just gaining strength, right? So that we are having healthy bones, healthy muscles, and we're really preventing any foreseeable accidents and falls and things down the track. So
Mm.
it really helps our metabolism and gives us the energy and the vitality that we all dream about. So exercise, whatever that might be that you enjoy doing, I want you to make sure it's something that you enjoy doing. So if going to the gym is not for you, then find something else.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
But if you can remember, shine. And if you're overwhelmed by doing everything, my real advice is start with one thing. Just choose one of those pillars to focus on. And then when you've got that under wraps, you've got your hydration sorted, right, sleep could be the next thing that you're going to really protect.
Yeah.
And then it might be the food or the exercise or something.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks for sharing that. That's incredible. I love it. I love it.
I find that those principles tie into all of my presentations.
Yeah.
Because for us to really shine in life, we are meeting a lot of those healthy pillars. And when we do, that can make us better at managing our stress. That can make us better at understanding neurodiversity in the workplace. That can make us better in understanding psychological safety and making sure that others feel like it's safe to speak up in the workplace if they've got any areas of concern. And it just sort of fits in beautifully with everything.
It really does. It really does. And it fits you perfectly too, because when you talk about it, you shine, you light up. So it's absolutely beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And so from a mental health and well-being point of view, so you've had lots of change and you've had to flow and adapt to what you've been doing from pursuing your passions and purposes.
Yes.
Because I think you've got quite a few purposes. They all blend in together, definitely.
They do. Yes.
So for you, I mean, obviously you've just shared Shine, which would be probably your like platform of how you look after your own mental health and well-being. But is there anything else that you do that would that can help you or that you love to do that really helps if you're feeling a bit flat or if you're a bit tired?
I usually start my day half an hour before anybody else in the house gets up. And that's just my me time. And that's where I feel like I can do anything from just some gentle stretching. I could sit on the back deck with a cup of tea. That's a really nice quiet time in my house to do some journaling and set my intentions for the day and what I'm grateful for and those sorts of things. Yeah. And you know, when I start the day with that kind of morning routine, that's just me and pouring into me, I feel like when I start hearing the alarms go off in all the bedrooms, that everything's just, I'm more grounded, right? Because I've had that kind of quiet, slow start to the day. And don't get me wrong, I have not always done that. I was definitely probably 15 years ago, the alarm would go off and I'd fly into the bathroom and fly into the kitchen and start doing the lunch boxes and get everybody to school and fall in a heap. And so I feel like a morning routine, whatever that looks like, and it can look different on different days. For me, that has been a real game changer because I feel like because I'm starting in such a quiet, relaxed place, it then has a flow-on effect to the rest of my day. On the days where my eldest daughter is a rower, and so there are some mornings that we wake up in the 4 o'clocks to get to the river by 5 o'clock. I don't do my morning routine on those days because I don't want to be up any earlier than I already am. However, on those 2 mornings a week, I will sit, and it can be just for 5 minutes at some point in the day, outside on the grass, shoes off, just grounding to the earth. And definitely remember that nature and being out in the environment, and if you are anywhere close to a beach, go to the beach, get your feet in the sand and in the water, just listen to those waves crashing. Yeah. If you're more of a forest person, go where you've got trees and grass and feel into that kind of a forest environment where you automatically just feel so calm and so grounded. And that is an incredibly powerful reset tool for me, but also for many, many people.
Yeah.
Definitely, that's how I stay grounded.
I love that.
How just slowly, I think being aware of you, being aware of your sleep and protecting that, being aware of where's my water bottle, or having a drink and thinking about having something nutritious as a snack.
Yeah.
Is a real game changer for many, many people.
Absolutely. And so when we talk about grounding, what does grounding actually mean to you? Like, what do you think it does? What is the whole idea around grounding?
Well, do we want to get super scientific? Perhaps let's keep it simple. Grounding to me means that you have got your feet, so preferably no socks on, no shoes on, onto the earth, whether that be the grass, whether that be, like we said, in the sand, if you're near a beach, in the water, and just feeling like you are taking some deep breaths in and out and just really allowing your body to kind of be one with the earth.
Yeah.
And feel, look, you know, we could get all technical about what happens or whatever, but in a simple nutshell, just feeling relaxed and calm and just allowing yourself to really connect with nature.
And when I do that too, for me, it also means I'm really present.
Yes.
Like there's nothing else going. I'm just in this moment. I can feel my feet. I know where I am.
That's right.
And it's that really bringing me back to like being really present.
Yes, yes. And if you can say to yourself, what can I feel right now? Can you feel your feet lapping up the water or in the sand, or, you know, the cool blades of grass? What can you hear? What can you smell? Like very much in your awareness, and it only can take a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
And then you can go back to if you're working from home or whatever it is, and feel just so much more relaxed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I love that. Thank you. There is so much
scientific paper, Megan, I can send you on grounding if you want to put it in the show notes. If people want to read up more, I can definitely send you that. But in a nutshell, I think we've got it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so. And there's just oh my gosh, there's just so many rich golden nuggets that you're sharing with everyone. So it's really wonderful. Because I think sometimes too is that when people are overwhelmed, then they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know where to start.
Yes.
And the overwhelm becomes even more overwhelmed because they think, what am I going to do? But I love the things that you're suggesting and sharing they're simple things to get started.
You just have to start. Just start today by making a better choice for lunch.
Yes.
You know, breakfast, whatever it might be. Or just start today taking your drink bottle in the car when you're driving around.
Yeah.
Just start.
Start. Absolutely. I love that. Yeah, really great.
I think that's why a lot of my clients see such transformations with their health and their well-being, because it's nothing overwhelming. It's not like I'm saying, right, for the rest of your life, you can only eat this for breakfast.
Yeah.
It's not, right? Just start to make some healthier choices and habits of filling the drink bottle and having that with you all the time, or having a big jug with you at your desk with a glass of water, and just getting used to those healthier habits, and they can make a massive, massive difference to the way you feel, the way that you can perform in your workplace in terms of cognitive processing, and just being aware of other people, because you are suddenly hydrated and you haven't had 5 coffees potentially in the morning. You might have had 1 or 2, but you've already had 3 glasses of water, and you know you're on track for that 11 o'clock goal.
Yeah. So I'm assuming with you talking about the habit piece that you would be a fan of James Clear's Atomic Habits.
Yes, I am.
Me too.
Yes, and Mel Robbins, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just go and do it, right? Get on with it.
Yeah. So what's one misconception that people have about well-being that you're constantly having to reframe?
Well, just that well-being is hard and that it's overwhelming. And so, like we've just said, just start with one thing. Get that going quite easily, get into the habit of just always having that glass of water and taking the drink bottle everywhere, and then tackle another one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, love it.
It's not overwhelming, and it's only going to make you feel 100 times better.
Yeah. Exactly. And I also think too is that what works for you too. I think people get overwhelmed also because they're looking on social media and a lot of social media says you should. And that then also gives people, I think, a little bit of anxiety because it's like, okay, well, I should be, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. But that's not going to work for me.
Well, that's
So
right.
what works for me, what works for you, and also what's exciting and attractive to you too, in the sense of what lights you up when you think about doing exercise.
That's why I say choose something that you enjoy. And if it is swimming or playing tennis, then great. Do a few times every week. Most of us incidentally walk about 4,000 steps a day, unless we are very sedentary or very overweight and we have trouble moving. Most of us would do that without really even thinking, and that can just be walking around the house, putting away washing, walking to the front door, walking and getting the mail, hanging some washing outside, going up downstairs a few times a day for kids or whatever it might be. And so think about, can you set yourself a realistic goal? Can you actually walk to the local shops to pick up bread or milk or something from the butcher? Or can you walk kids to school? I am so fortunate. I love that my youngest is still at our local primary school, and I get to walk her every morning and every afternoon, unless the weather's really poorly, because it is a bun fight in the car trying to find parking. There are parking inspectors everywhere, and I am so much more relaxed for being able to walk there. And so, that well-being shouldn't be overwhelming. There should be moments in the day where we can really intentionally think, well, how am I going to move myself today? And what can I do instead of driving? Sometimes we can't drive everywhere, or somewhere is too far. We actually can't walk to that location. But especially for me, I think on days like today where I'm on Zoom a lot of the day, I'm so thankful that I've been able to walk this morning, and I'll be able to walk this afternoon. And if I get to the gym tonight, I've got one child that likes to go to the gym at 7:30 or 8 o'clock after dinner. It's not my preferred time, but it's great to walk there to the gym and to have those conversations with him along the way, and to check in with him on his day. And it makes it all worthwhile.
That's fantastic. I love that. And the other benefit of drinking lots of water is you've got to pee a lot. So you actually have to get up and walk to the bathroom, get up from your desk. So it's actually a benefit.
Correct. Yes, that is right.
So let's go back to leaders and leadership, the leadership training that you do. So if a leader wanted to improve both performance and well-being in their team, where would you suggest that they start?
Well, I would ask them to think about some common challenges that are facing the team, and then look at, could we implement 2 or 3 workshops over a space of 6 months or 12 months so that I could be turning up and really supporting them with their team. It's wonderful to go back to workplaces when you've already done a presentation, because you can laugh and joke about, now who has had trouble implementing X, Y, and Z? Okay, no problem. That's common. All right, now we're going to build on that today. Let me remind you how important that is, but today we're going to also focus on this. I just see that the organisations that are really invested in their staff and that have multiple sessions throughout a year, and they become ongoing clients for me, actually, because the staff look forward to those presentations and we always have a good laugh, joke together, and they're always very thankful. So that's great. We usually see less sick days being taken in those organisations, a real happier staff, better company culture, and a better understanding of, when things aren't good, when is the right time to speak up, and the tone of voice and how to approach certain problems. And I think that's because the workplace has asked for those presentations to take place and have acknowledged that they are important.
I love that. That's amazing. I love that. So one of my usual questions is, has your path to pursuing your passion and purpose evolved over time? Obviously it has.
Yes.
So what is it within you that allows you to just move and go with whatever is presenting itself to you? What would you attribute to that?
Never say no kind of attitude. I always think that there are just opportunities come my way often, and I always say yes and then work it out later. And I think that's just a wonderful skill to have, unless something feels really not aligned or I would really be out of my depth. If it's in the health and wellbeing space, but it hasn't been something that I've considered before, I always say yes. Let's work out how to make that work.
And so would that be advice that you would give someone who is just starting out and wanting to pursue or to start to discover their passion and purpose?
I think so, because I think lots of doors open, and when things come to you, if you're very closed and you're closed-minded, but you're sort of not really willing to explore and see what might happen, that could prevent the business really having a lot of success. But if you're a little bit more open to different opportunities, and things happen for a reason. I was in a workplace once, and one of the employees in the session said, "Oh, this is really terrific. We should have a whole day of this. I wish we could have a whole day of this." Well, so then the organization said, "Well, yeah, could you put together a outline of what you would cover if we did like a day workshop or a half day workshop?" And so, I had my whole idea originally was present an hour workshop and have time for questions, and that was it. Go home, be finished. And now my offer is I could do a half day. I could do a full day. When someone said, "Oh, the full day was so good, I wish this is an overnight," that's when my retreats came about, because I thought, well, let's see if we can go away for a night. Now, lots of accommodation places that you look online have a 2-night minimum. So I started running a leadership and wellbeing retreat for 2 nights. And I thought, how can I make this work? Well, people could arrive the first day after work. So that's kind of the first night. And then the whole next day can be a full day. That's my whole day program.
Yeah.
And then they sleep that night, go home the next morning. Well, so successful. It's now become a 3-night offering. So you see, you never say no, right? Always stay open to opportunities, and you never really know where it's going to lead. But I think if I'd had that closed mindset, no, I only do 1-hour presentations, that's it. Well, that would have cut me out of a lot of really exciting projects to be a part of and opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And having a more of a scientific background, what's your take on intuition? Like, do you believe in intuition, or is it more scientific that your gut will tell you?
I have learned over time, Megan, that I cannot ignore my intuition. Those times where you hear whispers, or you might feel sick in the tummy, but you don't listen. You think, "Oh no, I'm still going to do that anyway." And then it falls in a heap, and then you think, "Oh, I wish I didn't do it." So thankfully, through experience, I've learned to listen to my intuition, very much so. And when things don't feel right, you might say it's cold feet. Well, I've learned that, it's more than just cold feet. It doesn't feel right. And I just politely decline the whatever it might be.
Yeah. And are you really clear on the values that you live by? Yeah. Because I find that if you are very clear on those values, then if an opportunity comes your way,
yes,
then you can usually tell if you're saying no for what reason. So no, because it doesn't feel right because it's not aligned, or no, actually it's aligned, but is it then something that is going on in me? Am I blocking it? Am I fearful? Am I worried about that?
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
I would agree. Yeah.
Okay, so what's next for you? Like, what's 2026 looking like for you?
Right. Well, I've got a number of things already in the diary. Yeah. I'm considering offering something a little bit different. You said at the very start that I have a very successful 30-day program, and that's really to give people an opportunity to see what it is like to have somebody sort of coach them through health and wellbeing for a month, with the idea that, they enjoy that month experience and then potentially consider something longer. I'm considering doing a 7-day reset this year. So it's not off the ground yet, but perhaps in March I'll have it ready and I'll send you some information. You can share that with the listeners.
Yep.
Because I think it could be very helpful for people to get even quicker results and to see in 7 days how they could shine and really start shining more brightly with some of those key healthy habits, to then decide, oh yes, actually I'd like longer mentoring and then look into the 30-day program and potentially longer. So that's going to look a little bit different this year.
Definitely. I love that.
Yeah. I've got another retreat happening in July. I've got one in March that's pretty much full, but we've got one happening in July, so that's exciting. And I'm looking at whether we start to run any more retreats internationally. So watch this space. And I'm not really sure. I sort of just open to new opportunities that are going to come my way. So we'll see.
And saying yes to those things.
Yes. You know me too well, Megan. Yes.
I love that. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for what's going to happen for you for this year.
Thank you.
So can you believe that we've actually only got a couple of minutes left? So I'm going to ask you the same question that I ask all of my guests before we finish our conversation. So, Carolyn, what is one lesson or truth that you've learned on your journey that you wish you had known earlier?
Yes, that's a great question, Megan. I think just to trust your instinct and really look after yourself. That is key. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And if you are so busy supporting all those around you, whether that be your team in a workplace or whether that's your partner and your children at home, you've still got to be looking after you and prioritizing yourself. And so I think I'm pretty good at doing that now, but that hasn't always been the case.
That's beautiful. It's a beautiful way to wrap up our conversation. I feel like we've done a beautiful loop.
Thank you.
Thank you for spending this time with me today, and also just going into the depth of the work that you do.
You're welcome.
Sharing Shine, I think, is a real game changer for a lot of people. And I also feel like that your 7-day, once you launch that as well, I think that 7-day reset, I think, will be very successful.
Yes.
So thank you very much, and for all the work that you do for everybody as well.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Megan, for letting me share what I love doing so passionately.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of The True North Show. I hope today's conversation brought you closer to your own sense of purpose and reminded you of the power you hold within. If this resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who's also walking the path of becoming. To continue the journey, head over to megannorth.com. You'll find resources, support, and ways to work with me one-on-one. Until next time, keep trusting yourself, following your intuition, and taking one aligned step at a time. Your true north is never lost. It's just waiting for you to come home.